Ctevt first year botany question paper with answer for examination. So नमस्ते साथीहरु, म रुपेश चौधरी आज यस भिडियोमा सो गर्नेछु Ctevt फर्स्ट इयर 2077 को क्वेशन पेपर लिएर उपस्थित भएको छु। सो भिडियो अन्तसम्म हेर्नु होला। यदि राम्रो लाग्यो भने लाइक गर्नु होला। यदि कुनै प्रश्न छ भने कमेन्टमा लेखिदिनु होला। यदि नयाँ हुनुहुन्छ भने सब्स्क्राइब गरिदिनु होला। थ्यांक यू। Define the following terms. Define the following terms. So point number A, paleontology. Paleontology, it is the study of fossil and history of life. Point number B, taxonomy. Taxonomy, it is commonly known as identification, nomenclature and classification. So taxonomy, it is the branch of biology that deal with the study of identification, systematic arrangement and nomenclature of the organism, and their classification is called taxonomy. Define anatomy. Define anatomy, it is the study of internal structure of the living organisms. Point number D, histology. Histology, it deal with the study of minute microscope structure of the tissue with the help of microscope. It deal with the study of minute microscope structure of the tissue with the help of microscope. Point number E, cytology. Cytology, it deal with the study of individual structure of cell. It deal with the study of individual structure of cell. नमस्ते, म रुपेश चौधरी आज यस भिडियोमा भन्नेछु बोटानीको मोस्ट रिपिटेड क्वेशन जुन फाइनल एक्जामिनेसनमा आइरहेको हुन्छ र धेरै विद्यार्थीले के भन्छ कि मलाई थाहा नै छैन यत्रो नोटमा कसरी पढ्नु भनेर। सो मैले सर्ट आउट गरेको छु फाइनल एक्जामिनेसनको लागि। सो भिडियो मन पर्यो भने प्लिज यस भिडियोलाई लाइक गर्नु होला र केही प्रश्न छ भने कमेन्ट बक्समा लेखिदिनु होला। सो नयाँ हुनुहुन्छ भने प्लिज सब्स्क्राइब दिस च्यानल र कुनै साथीलाई हेल्प चाहियो भने प्लिज यो भिडियो उनीहरूलाई शेयर गरिदिनु होला किनकि उनीहरूलाई पनि यस्तो हेल्प चाहियो सायद मलाई जहाँसम्म लाग्छ किनकि फर्स्ट इयरको रिपिटेड क्वेशनहरू होस् र फाइनल एक्जामिनेसनमा आउँछ नै त्यही भएर म भन्न चाहन्छु। थ्यांक यू। Why lysosomes are called suicidal bag? Why lysosomes are called suicidal bag? Answer, lysosome is called suicidal bag because they consist of different hydrolyzing enzymes capable of digestion. They can digest the various cell organelles. Lysosomes is called suicidal bag because they consist of different hydrolyzing enzymes capable of digestion. They can digest the various cell organelles. Why are the mitochondria is known as powerhouse of cell? Why are the mitochondria is known as powerhouse of a cell? Answer, mitochondria manufacture ATP which supply energy for metabolic activities of cell. Hence it is called powerhouse of cell. List the two name of cell inclusion. List the two name of cell inclusion. Point number A, carbohydrate. Point number B, fat. Carbohydrate, fat. List the two name of cell organelle. List the two name of cell organelle. Point number A, mitochondria. Mitochondria. Point number B, chloroplast. Chloroplast. Define cell organelle. Define cell organelle. They are the non-living component of the cytoplasm is known as cell organelle. They are the non-living component of the cytoplasm is known as cell organelle. Define cell. Define cell. Cell is defined as the structural and functional unit of life. Cell is defined as the structural and functional unit of life. Name the part of complete flower. Name the part of a complete flower. Answer, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are the part of a flower. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are the part of a flower. Define the binomial system of nomenclature. Define the binomial system of nomenclature. Answer, the system of assigning a scientific name of any organisms with two words, that is genus and species, is known as binomial system of nomenclature. Example, Rana tigrina. Why Bryophyta commonly known as amphibian of plant kingdom? Answer, they are found in land but water is extremely important for fertilization. Hence Bryophyta is known as amphibian of plant kingdom. What is the reserve food material in fungi? What is the reserve food material in fungi? Answer. Glycagon and oil is the reserve food of material in fungi. What is diffusion? What is diffusion? What is diffusion? What is diffusion? Answer. The process or phenomenon of the movement. The process of the phenomenon of the movement of molecule of a substance that is solid, liquid and gas from a region of higher concentration to the lower concentration is termed as diffusion. What is food web? What is food web? The interlocking pattern of various food in ecosystem form a complex network. This network of food chain is called food web. What is food chain? What is food chain? Food chain is defined as the transfer of food energy from the sources producer through the series of any organism in the ecosystem by the process of eating and being eaten. What is trophic level? What is trophic level? A trophic level is a group of any organism within an ecosystem which occupy the same level in a food chain. What is ecosystem? What is ecosystem? Ecosystem is defined as a system resulting from integration of all living factor and non-living factor of the environment is called ecosystem. What do you mean by trophic level? What do you mean by trophic level? The producer and consumer of ecosystem can be arranged in several feeding groups. Each group is called trophic level. Name any two plant virus. Name any two plant virus. Point number A. Tobacco massive virus. Tobacco massive virus. Turnip yellow virus. Turnip yellow virus. Name any two animal virus. Name any two animal virus. Point number A. Rhinovirus, retrovirus. Rhinovirus, retrovirus. Define ethnobotany. Define ethnobotany. Ethnobotany is defined as the scientific study of traditional knowledge and custom of a people concerning plant and their uses. Significance of ethnobotany. Point number A. Recognition of profession. Recognition of profession. Point number 2. Preservation of their knowledge. Preservation of their knowledge. Define mitosis cell division. Define mitosis cell division. Mitosis is a type of a cell division in which one parent cell divided and to form new daughter cell in such a way that daughter cell come to have the same number, shape and size of chromosomes as have present cell is known as mitosis cell division. Define meiosis cell division. Define meiosis cell division. Answer. Cell division is a process in which new cells are formed by the division of pre-existing cell. Cell division is a process in which new cells are formed by the division of pre-existing cell. Define homozygous. Any individual with two identical alleles of same gene are called homozygous, that is capital TT and small tt. Define heterozygous. Define heterozygous. Answer. Any individual with two different alleles of the same gene are called heterozygous, that is capital T small t in bracket hybrid. Scientific name. Scientific name. So English name and their scientific name. So English name: rice, maize, adwa, neem, tomato, gram, wheat, potato, दालचिनी, सर्पगन्धा, यर्सागुम्बा. So यिनीहरूको सबैको scientific name यो रहेको छ. So rice Orza sativa, maize Joyme, adwa Ginger officinalis, neem Aza directa indica, tomato Lycopersicum esculentum, gram Cicer erythrinaeum, wheat Triticum aestivum, potato Solanium tuberosum, dalchini Cynonomum xylinicum, sarpagandha Rowolfia serpentine, yersagumba Cordyceps compactris. So botanical name and their English name. So English name and their botanical name. So English name: wheat, orange, mango, mustard, potato, neem, yersagumba. यिनीहरूको botanical name भनेको यो हो. So wheat Triticum aestivum, orange Citrus reticulata, mango Mangifera indica, mustard Brassica compactris, potato Solanium tuberosum, neem Aja directa indica, यर्सागुम्बा कोर्डिसेप साइनेन्सिस। याद गर्नु साथी हो, यो यर्सागुम्बाको नेम फरक नेम अलिक उस्तै रहेको छ। कोर्डिसेपमा कम्प्याक्ट्रिस रहेको छ र साइन्टिफिक नेममा कोर्डिसेप्स कम्प्याक्ट्रिस रहेको छ भने बोटानिकल नेममा कोर्डिसेप साइनेन्सिस रहेको छ। सो बी केयरफुल्ली वाच। Write down the function of lipid. Write down the function of lipid. So answer, the function of lipid are: point number A, lipid are efficient sources of energy. Lipid are efficient sources of energy. Point number B, lipid act as a structural compound of cell membrane, cell organelle in the form of phospholipid. Lipid act as a structural compound of cell membrane, cell organelle in the form of phospholipid. Point number C, vitamin D is the synthesized from cholesterol in the presence of sunlight. Vitamin D is the synthesized from cholesterol in the form of sunlight. Point number D, fat act as carriers of fat soluble vitamin like A, D, E, K. Fat act as carriers of fat soluble vitamin like A, D, E, K. Point number E, fat deposited in adipose tissue of animal act as heat insulator. Fat deposited in adipose tissue of animal act as heat insulator. Write the function of protein. Write the function of protein. So answer, the function of protein are: point number 1, protein is nutrient needed by the human body for growth and maintenance. Protein is nutrient needed by the human body for growth and maintenance. Point number 2, beside from water, protein are the most abundant kind of molecule in the body. Reside from water, protein are the most abundant kind of molecule in the body. Point number 3, protein can be found in all cells of the body and is the major structural component of all cells in the body. Protein can be found in all cells of the body and is the major structural component of all cells in the body, especially muscles. Point number 4, additionally protein is needed to form blood cell. Additionally protein is needed to form blood cell. Point number 6, protein is only used as fuel. Protein is only used as fuel when carbohydrate and lipid resources are low. So point number 7, point number 6, protein are believed to increase performance in terms of athletic. Protein are believed to increase perform in terms of athletic. Point number 7, protein are also used in membranes such as glycoprotein. When broken down into amino acid, they are used as precursor to nucleic acid, coenzyme, hormones, immune response, cellular repair and other molecules essential for life. Function of carbohydrate. Function of carbohydrate are: point number 1, carbohydrates are used as sources of energy. About 60% of the total energy is derived by the breakdown of carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are used as sources of energy. About 60% of the total energy is derived by the breakdown of carbohydrate. Point number 2, carbohydrate help in synthesis of amino acid and lipid. Carbohydrate help in synthesis of amino acid and lipid. Point number 3, the carbohydrate like starch is stored as the main rich of food material in plant, whereas glycogen in animal. The carbohydrate like starch is stored as the main rich of food material in plant, whereas glycogen in animal. Point number 4, polysaccharide like cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin are structural component of plant cell wall. Polysaccharide like cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin are structural component of plant cell wall. Point number 6, point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point number 5, carbohydrates are used as building block. The carbohydrates like monosaccharide are the building block of the oligosaccharide and polysaccharide. Carbohydrates are used as building block. The carbohydrates like monosaccharide are the building block of the oligosaccharide and polysaccharide. So write the rule of binomial nomenclature. Write the rule of binomial nomenclature. Answer. The rule of binomial nomenclature are: point number 1. Each organism is provided with one name consisting of two words, that is generic and specific name. So point number 2. The scientific name should be underlined separately and handwritten form, and they should be in italic in printed form. So point number 3. The first letter of generic should be started from capital letter, and other all letter of generic and specific name should be in a small letter. So the point number 4. The scientific name should be taken from Greek or Latin word. Point number 5. The difficult and long names should be avoided. The difficult and long names should be avoided. For example, Pasem sativum, and Brassica compactris. Difference between DNA and RNA. Difference between DNA and RNA. DNA, full form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA, full form of RNA, ribonucleic acid. So first, DNA is double stranded. RNA is single stranded. It is polymer of deoxyribonucleotide. It is polymer of ribonucleotide. It contains deoxyribose pentose sugar. It contains ribose pentose sugar. Point number 4. The number of purine and pyrimidine are equal. The number of purine and pyrimidine are not equal. Point number 5. It is hereditary materials. Point number 5. It is not hereditary material except in some virus. Point number 6. It is only one type. That is DNA. So it is three types, that is mRNA, tRNA and RNA. So M भनेको messenger हो, र T भनेको transfer हो, अनि R भनेको ribosome हो. So messenger RNA, transfer RNA, ribosomes RNA. So point number 7. It is replicate to produce new DNA molecule. It can't replicate itself. So what is photosynthesis? Answer. The phenomenon of the formation of simple carbohydrate from H2O, that is water, and CO2, that is carbon dioxide, in the green part of plant in the presence of sunlight. Signification of photosynthesis. So answer. Signification of photosynthesis are: point number A. By the process of photosynthesis, organic compound can be prepared from the inorganic raw materials. Point number B. Chlorophyll can change radiant energy into chemical energy during photosynthesis. Point number C. Oxygen is balanced in the atmosphere only by the process of photosynthesis, which evolves O2 by utilizing CO2. Point number D. All useful plant products are derived from photosynthesis, as timber, rubber, resin, oil, fiber, drugs, etc. Point number E. All carbon containing fossil fuel like coal, petroleum and natural gases are past plants found under the earth are product of photosynthesis. Point number F. Higher concentration of CO2 is poisonous to living being. This process decreases the concentration of CO2. Point number G. It checks the global warming by decreasing the level of CO2 in atmosphere, photorespiration. Define sex determination. Define sex determination. Sex determination is concerned with the study of factors which are responsible for making an individual male, female, or hermaphrodite. It is the mere signal indicating male or female development pattern. Describe sex determination by sex chromosome in human. So parent, gamete and first generation. So male and female. Male have 22 pair plus XY. Female 22 pair plus XX. That is the male have sperm and female have egg. So gamete 22 plus X, 22 plus Y. Female have only 22 plus X. So first generation 22 pair plus XX 50% female, 22 pair plus XY 50% male. So sex determination in male by XX minus XY method. So point number 1, there are 22 pair of autosome and pair of sex chromosomes. Point number 2, male have 22 pair of autosome and 2 different sex chromosomes regarded as X and Y. Point number 3, the male are heterogametic, producing 2 different type of gamete or sperm, one having 22 plus X, that is gynosperm, and another having 22 plus XY, that is androsome, that is androsome. Point number 4, the female are homogametic, producing only one type of egg having 22 plus X. Point number 5, the sex of the progeny depend on the kind of sperm. Point number 6, fertilization of egg 22 plus X by sperm carrying 22 plus X produce female having 22 plus pair of 22 pair plus XX chromosomes. Point number 7, fertilization of an egg having 22 plus X by sperm carrying 22 plus Y produce male offspring having 22 pair plus XY chromosomes. So parent homogametic and heterogametic. So homogametic mean girls, that is produce XX plus XX. Heterogametic, that is male, so it produce XX plus XY, that is a sperm, so cross each other. So XX plus XX 50% female and 50% male. So mechanism of XX minus XY method of sex determination. Why is mitosis known as equational cell division? Describe the process with well-labeled diagram. So answer, mitosis is the process of cell division in which a mature somatic cell divided into a such a way that the both mother and daughter cell have same number of chromosomes, so the daughter cell are equitatively similar to the mother cell. Thus it is also called as equational cell division. Answer, mitosis is the process of cell division in which a mature somatic cell divided into a such a way that the both mother and daughter cell have a same number of chromosomes, so the daughter cell are equitatively similar to the mother cell. Thus it is also called as equational cell division. In mitosis there are 3 successive stages, that is interphase, cytokinesis, Cardiogenesis. Cytokinesis means cytoplasmic division, Cardiogenesis means nuclear division. So point number 1, interphase. Point number 1, interphase. Answer, the stage between two mitosis division is termed as interphase. It was believed to be resting stage, considering that the nucleus remain inactive during this stage, but nucleus remain quite active metabolically, where its nucleus and size cell grow, chromosomes replicate and cell organelle multiply. Interphase consists 3 subcells, that is G1, S, G2. Point number 2, Cardiogenesis. Point number 2, Cardiogenesis. So Cardio mean nucleus, kinesis mean movement. Cardio mean nucleus, kinesis mean movement. So nucleus movement. So Cardiogenesis. During karyokinesis, instead of dividing directly, the nucleus passes through a sequence of chains and finally produces the daughter nucleus. For the convenience of karyokinesis is divided into four phases, that is prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. Karyo mean nucleus, kinesis mean movement, so karyokinesis mean nucleus movement. So during karyokinesis, instead of dividing directly, the nucleus passes through a sequence of chains and finally produce the daughter nucleus. For the convenience of karyokinesis is divided into four phases, that is prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. Point number 3, cytokinesis. Point number 3, cytokinesis. The process of the division of the cytoplasm is known as cytokinesis. The process of the cytokinesis generally begins from middle of the anaphase and complete with the telophase. It can take place by two methods. The process of the division of the cytoplasm is known as cytokinesis. The process of the cytokinesis generally begins from middle of the anaphase and complete with the telophase. It can take place by two methods, that is cleavage or contraction method. Next, cell plate method. So first method, the cleavage or contraction method. So answer, it is common method of cytokinesis in lower plant and animal. During this method, cytoplasm becomes centripetally contracted in the middle to form two daughter protoplasm, each having a single nucleus. Pectin cellulose and hemicellulose are deposited in the contraction to form cell wall. Point number 2, second method. Point number 2, second method, cell plate method. Cell plate method. Answer, it is common in higher plant. It is common in higher plant. In this type of cytokinesis, the spindle persists for some time and is called progmoplast. During this process, Golgi apparatus or endoplasmic reticulum produce a small vesicle and these become collected at the equator of those spindle. The membrane of vesicle fuse to form two sheets which enclose the matrix. This matrix becomes solidified and forms cell plate. Then the spindle disappears and daughter protoplasms collect cellulose and hemicellulose on their side of the cell plate and form the primary cell. Define osmosis with example. Define osmosis with example. So answer, the process of the movement of the solvent molecule from the region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration through the semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. Example, the absorption of water by root hair from soil. So signification of osmosis. Signification of osmosis. So answer, the signification of osmosis are: point number 1, plant root absorbs water by osmosis. Plant root absorbs water by osmosis. Plant root absorbs water by osmosis. Point number 2, it maintains the shape of the organ and make the organ rigid due to the turgidity. It maintains the shape of the organ and make the organ rigid due to the turgidity. Point number 3, it helps the growth of tissue. It helps the growth of tissue. Point number 4, it helps in movement of water molecule from cell to cell. It helps in movement of water molecule from cell to cell. Point number 5, high osmotic pressure of a cell protect the plant against drought and frost injury. Point number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point number 5, high osmotic pressure of a cell protect the plant against drought and frost injury. High osmotic pressure of a cell protect the plant against drought and frost injury. Define air pollution. Define air pollution. Describe its sources, effect and prevention of measures. So air pollution. Air pollution is undesirable change in quality of air due to the addition of various materials that alter the physical, biological and chemical quality of air. Sources of air pollution, that is vehicle, radiation, factories and industries, domestic burning, suspended particulate matter, So sources of air pollution. Point number 1, vehicle. They release CO, CO2, NOx, hydrocarbon, etc. Point number 2, radiation. These are alpha beta particle released from the nuclear power plant and nuclear explosion. Point number 3, factories and industries. So factories: cement factories, stone grinding factories, brick factories, paper and rubber industries, chemical industries, leather industries release CO, CO2, SO2, NOx, H2S, hydrocarbon and dust particle into the atmosphere. Many metallurgical process release metal like Pb, Hg, NiCr, etc. Point number 4, domestic burning. So, answer: burning of cooking, domestic fuel, wood, coal, etc. produce CO, CO2 and other gases. CO2 is formed by complete combustion and CO by incomplete combustion of fuel. Point number 5, suspended particulate matter. Answer: wind-blown dust, volcanic eruption, forest fire are major sources of particulate matter. They produce dust, ash, grit, etc. Effect of air pollution. Point number 1, effect on human health. So, CO combine with hemoglobin and form oxyhemoglobin. It reduces O2 carrying capacity, thus affecting respiratory activity. CO combine with hemoglobin and form carboxyhemoglobin. It reduces O2 carrying capacity, thus affecting respiratory activity. So, SO2 causes irritation of eye, lung and asthma. SO2 causes irritation of eye, lung and asthma. Hydrocarbon have carcinogenic effect on lung. Hydrocarbon have carcinogenic effect on lung. Oxygen of nitrogen causes irritation to mucous membrane and damage to respiratory system. Oxide of nitrogen causes irritation to mucous membrane and damage to respiratory system. Point number 2, effect on environment. So, point number A, greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. So, answer: CO2 is produced in atmosphere by burning of fossil fuel in furnace and by respiration of animal. It acts like a glass of greenhouse and on a global scale tends to warm the air in the lower level of atmosphere. Increase in amount of NOx, O3, CFCs, water vapor also added the effect. So, ozone layer deflection. Point number B, ozone layer deflection. Ozone layer deflection. So, answer: ozone layer is destroyed by CFCs released from refrigerator and aerosol. Supersonic plane and nuclear explosion produce NOx into the stratosphere that also reduce the concentration of O3 in the stratosphere. Prevention of air pollution. Prevention of air pollution. Point number 1, public awareness program in the community is essential or necessary. Public awareness program in the community is essential or necessary. Reduction in number of vehicle and use unleaded petrol. Reduction in number of vehicle and use unleaded petrol. Stop the forest fire and prevention it. Stop the forest fire and prevention it. Minimizing consumption of fuel, burning wood. Minimizing consumption of fuel and burning wood. So next point, placing thermal power plant with electricity generation system. Replacing thermal power plant with electricity generation system. Point number next, use of smokeless chula, solar cooker and biogas that produce less smoke. Use of smokeless chula, solar cooker and biogas that produce less smoke. Define water pollution. Describe its sources, effect and prevention of measures. So, define water pollution. So, answer: water pollution is every effect which changes the quality of our surface, subsoil water to such a degree that its suitability either for human consumption or for the support of man's natural life process will decrease or cease. Sources of water pollution. Sources of water pollution. Point number 1. Discharge of any industrial effluent and waste directly into the water bodies. Discharge of industrial effluent and waste directly into the water bodies. Point number 2. Use of agrochemical bracket pesticide and fertilizer. Use of agrochemical pesticide and fertilizer. Point number 3. Domestic sewage washing bathing. Domestic sewage washing bathing. Point number 4. Thermal pollution, hot water from industries. Thermal pollution, hot water from industries. Point number 5. Oil and crude petroleum diesel kerosene oil. Oil and crude petroleum diesel kerosene oil. Point number 6. Arsenic from natural rock and soil enter water. Arsenic from natural rock and soil enter water. Effect of water pollution. Effect of water pollution. Point number 1. Effect on environment. Effect on environment. So answer point number 1. Acid rain changes pH value of water. Point number 2. Detergent and pesticide are biological degradable detergent and the wastewater disposal from thermal plant and kill the fish and wildlife in river and stream. Detergent even find their way through groundwater system and contaminate drinking water. Point number 2. Detergent and pesticide are biological degradable detergent and the waste water disposal from thermal plant kill the fish and wildlife in river and stream. Detergent even find their way through groundwater system and contaminate drinking water. Point number 3. When heated water is released into pond, stream and ocean, it decreases the suitability of dissolved oxygen, thus destroy the aquatic life. When heated water is released into pond, stream and ocean, it decreases the solubility of dissolved oxygen, thus destroy the aquatic life. Point number 4. More organic matter in water increase dissolved oxygen consumption by microorganism. It lead maximum biological oxygen demand, that is BOD, full form of biological oxygen demand. So due to this water is polluted more. Point number B. Effect on human health. Effect on human health. So point number 1. Organic matter is domestic wastage and sewage contain many microorganisms. Many of them are pathogenic and cause waterborne disease like cholera, typhoid, diarrhea, dysentery, jaundice, hepatitis and skin disease. Point number 4. Mercury released from industrial process disposed in water bodies cause mercury poisoning. It causes numerous ill health effects, nervous disorder and cause death. It occurs in Japan and called Minamata disease. Lead, cadmium and arsenic are slow poison and cause skin disease, anemia, headache, vomiting, muscular atrophy, gastrointestinal damage, brain damage, etc. Intestinal damage, brain damage, etc. So control of water pollution. Control of water pollution. Point number 4. Mercury released from industrial process disposed in water bodies cause mercury poisoning. It causes numerous ill health effects, nervous disorder and cause death. It occurs in Japan and called Minamata disease. Lead, cadmium and arsenic are slow poison and cause skin disease, anemia, headache, vomiting, muscular atrophy, gastrointestinal damage, brain damage, etc. Control of water pollution. Control of water pollution. So point number 1. Managing waste disposal and sewage treatment. Managing waste disposal and sewage treatment. Point number 2. Reducing excessive use of fertilizer and pesticides. Reducing excessive use of fertilizer and pesticides. Point number 3. Treating industrial effluent before discharging into water. Treating industrial effluent before discharging into water. Point number 4. Public awareness about its ill effect and training people to take prevention measure. Public awareness about its ill effect and training people to take preventive measure. Point number 5. Enforcing an application of law to reduce pollution load from industries. Enforcing an application of law to reduce pollution load from industries. Point number 6. Afforestation as many plants absorb harmful pollutant. Afforestation as many plants absorb harmful pollutant. Consequence of acid rain. Consequence of acid rain or effect of acid rain. So answer point number 1. Acid rain cause skin disease and responsible for health hazard like asthma, irritation of throat. Acid rain cause skin disease and responsible for health hazard like asthma, irritation of throat. Point number 2. It damage building monument status railing. It damage building monument status railing. Point number 3. It cause teeth decaying. It cause teeth decaying. Point number 4. It disturb the ecosystem by killing bacteria, cyanobacteria and other protozoan. It disturb the ecosystem by killing bacteria, cyanobacteria and other protozoan. Point number 5. It damages the forest. It is found that 8% of forest death in West Germany by acid rain. It damages the forest. It is found that 8% of forest death in West Germany by acid rain. Consequence of greenhouse effect. Consequence of greenhouse effect. So point number 1. Greenhouse effect result in increase in temperature of the earth cause global warming. Greenhouse effect result in increase in temperature and greenhouse effect result in increase in temperature of the earth causes global warming. Point number 2. It causes snow melting and flood during monsoon. It causes snow melting and flood during monsoon. Point number 3. It causes hurricane and cyclone near ocean. It causes hurricane and cyclone near ocean. Point number 4. Higher temperature causes continuous evaporation of seawater from unusual raining. Higher temperature causes continuous evaporation of seawater from unusual raining. Point number 5. High evaporation of water from reduced crop yield. High evaporation of water from reduced crop yield. Point number 6. Snow melting occur in mountain. Snow melting occur in mountain. Point number 7. Change rainfall pattern. Change rainfall pattern. Consequence of ozone layer deflection. Consequence of ozone layer deflection or effect of ozone layer deflection. So point number 1. Due to entrance of ultraviolet radiation, it causes skin cancer and blindness. Due to entrance of ultraviolet radiation, it causes skin cancer and blindness. Point number 2. UV भनेको ultraviolet radiation हो. So UV ultraviolet radiation increase the temperature of earth which causes climatic change. Ultraviolet radiation increase the temperature of the earth which causes climatic change. Point number 3. Ultraviolet radiation decrease the chlorophyll content in the plant cell which reduce the rate of photosynthesis, result decrease crop yield. Ultraviolet radiation decrease the chlorophyll content in the plant cell which reduce the rate of photosynthesis, result decrease crop yield. Point number 4. Ultraviolet radiation decrease the aquatic productivity, harm to the fish and other aquatic life by reducing the production of phytoplankton and zooplankton. Ultraviolet radiation decrease the aquatic productivity, harm to the fish and other aquatic life by reducing the production of phytoplankton and zooplankton. Define virus. Define virus. Answer. Virus is nucleoprotein entity which is able to utilize the synthetic machinery of the living cell of another organism for its multiplication. In Latin word, virus is poison. Virus is nucleoprotein entity which is able to utilize the synthetic machinery of the living cell of another organism for its multiplication. In Latin word, virus is poison. So the living characteristic of a virus are The living characteristic of virus are: point number 1, they contain either DNA or RNA. They contain either DNA or RNA. Point number 2, they respond to heat, chemical and radiation. They respond to heat, chemical and radiation. Point number 3, they are transmitted from the disease host to the healthy one. They are transmitted from the disease host to the healthy one. List out the signification of virus. List out the signification of virus. So answer: the signification of virus are: the virus. Point number 1, the viruses are generally believed that they are a great negative economic important as they cause serious human and animal disease and destructive plant disease. The viruses are generally believed that they are a great negative economic important as they cause serious human and animal disease and destructive plant disease. Point number 2, the viruses also interface in the working of many industrial processes which depend on bacterial action. Point number 2, the viruses also interface in the working of many industrial processes which depend on bacterial action. Point number 3, the bacteriophage virus attack the bacteria and cause loss in economy. The bacteriophage virus attack the bacteria and cause loss in economy.
हेलो एभ्रिवान, म रुपेश चौधरी। आज यस भिडियोमा भन्ने छु बोटानीको मोस्ट रिपिटेड क्वेसन जुन फाइनल एक्जामिनेसनमा आइरहेको हुन्छ। सो म भन्न चाहन्छु कि अन्तसम्म भिडियो हेर्नु होला। यदि भिडियो मन पर्यो भने प्लिज यस भिडियोलाई लाइक गरिदिनु होला। यदि कुनै प्रश्न छ भने त्यो कमेन्ट बक्समा लेखिदिनु होला। म 2-3 दिनको भित्रमै त्यसको रिप्लाई दिनेछु। र यदि नयाँ हुनुहुन्छ भने प्लिज यस च्यानललाई सब्स्क्राइब गरिदिनु होला, किनकि म यस्तै नयाँ भिडियो अपलोड गरि नै छु। मतलब यस्तै नयाँ भिडियो अपलोड गर्ने नै छु। सो भिडियोलाई अन्तसम्म हेर्नु होला र कुनै साथीहरूलाई हेल्प चाहियो भने यो भिडियो सेयर गरिदिनु होला उनीहरूलाई, किनकि उनीहरूलाई पनि हेल्प चाहिन्छ यस्तो क्या।
What are the signification of mitosis cell division? What are the signification of mitosis cell division? So answer: signification of mitosis cell division are: point number 1, it helps in maintaining linear heredity of any organism as it keeps the chromosomes number constant and genetic stability in daughter cell. It helps in maintaining linear heredity of any organism as it keeps the chromosomes number constant and genetic stability in daughter cell. Point number 2, this cell division helps in repair and regeneration of lost part and also in healing of wound. This cell division helps in repair and regeneration of lost part and also in healing of wound. Point number 3, this cell division is responsible for development in zygote into adult in multicellular organism. This cell division is responsible for development in zygote into adult in multicellular organisms. Point number 4, the daughter cell are produced are identical to mother cell. The daughter cell are produced are identical to mother cell. Point number 5, it helps in asexual reproduction like fragmentation, budding, stem and cutting, etc. Write down the characteristic of bacteria. Write down the characteristic of bacteria. So answer: the characteristic of bacteria are: point number 1, the monoron are prokaryotic and unicellular organism. The monoron are prokaryotic and unicellular organisms. Point number 2, they are cosmopolitan in distribution. They are cosmopolitan in distribution. Point number 3, its cell wall is made of murine or mucopeptide or peptidoglycan. Its cell wall is made of murine or mucopeptide or peptidoglycan. Point number 4, there is lack of membrane bonded cell organelle. There is lack of membrane bonded cell organelle. Point number 6, mode of nutrition is allotrophic or heterotrophic. Mode of nutrition is allotrophic or heterotrophic. Mode of nutrition is allotrophic or heterotrophic. Point number 7, nucleus is represented by single cellular DNA called nucleotide. Point number 7, nucleus is represented by single cellular DNA called nucleotide. Point number 8, reproductive take place by vegetative, asexual and sexual method. Example: bacteria and cyanobacteria. Reproductive take place by vegetative, asexual and sexual method. Example: bacteria and cyanobacteria. Write down the type of bacteria. Write down the type of bacteria. So that is Point number 1, coccus bacteria, vibra bacteria, mycelia bacteria, stalk bacteria, spiralium bacteria. So at first, coccus bacteria. So point number 1, coccus bacteria. Answer, bacteria having a spiral or oval shape called coccus bacteria. Bacteria having a spiral or oval shapes are called coccus bacteria. Point number B, vibrobacteria. Vibrobacteria, the body of bacterium is like comma, is called vibrobacteria. Vibrobacteria, the body of bacterium is like comma, is called vibrobacteria. Point number C, mycelia bacteria. Mycelia bacteria. Answer, they are aseptate filament bacteria which multiply asexually like fungi. They are aseptate filament bacteria which multiply asexually like fungi. Point number D, stalk bacteria. Point number D, stalk bacteria. Stalk bacteria. This bacteria passes a stalk. This bacteria passes a stalk. Point number E, spiralium bacteria. Spiralium bacteria. Answer, this type of bacteria passes spirally coiled from like that of cork screwed. They do not aggregate to form colonies. This type of bacteria passes spirally coiled from like that of cork screwed. They do not aggregate to form colonies. हस्त धन्यवाद, म रुपेश चौधरी, बाय बाय।